This is just going to be a really quick video because I really want to ask this question, specifically of people who hopefully they have the knowledge, what it is that I can do to fix these problems I'm having. So I'm going to start off with technically something that isn't necessarily solvable, but something that will tie into the actual main issue that I could hopefully have help being solved, which is relating to video editing. I have a Google Pixel 6 Pro. So I use that sometimes when I go out now to record instead of my No-Bro. And recently I went out and I went to a wildlife refuge to record a video for my Trip Reports Outdoors trip. Tripping outdoors. I didn't realize this until I started sitting down to try to edit it recently. That something was off because for some reason DaVinci Resolve, which is my main editing software, doesn't have capability of handling VBR, which is fucking stupid. It requires CBR. So I have to use a different video editing program just to slap the video files that I record on my phone into it, then render it out, so then it becomes CBR, so then I can then put it into DaVinci and then edit it from there. It's really fucking stupid. Basically, I have to create a duplicate of the files. So of course I go to put it into that software. This case, it's Magic's Movie Studio 2022. And it kept rendering out in slow motion. And I was trying to figure out why that would be. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, the only thing I can think of is somehow, maybe for whatever reason, some of the clips didn't record in the correct frames per second setting. So I looked. Sure enough, it's the case. Obviously, this must be a pretty rare occurrence, but why would it be that you have it set, obviously, by default to record on 1080p 60 frames a second, but it just randomly on some clips decides, you know what? No, I'm going to record at 34.586 frames a second. And then the second time you record, I'm going to record at 47.386 frames a second. And then I'm randomly going to go to 60 frames. Then I'm going to go down to 30 frames a second. And wait for it. Then I'm going to go and record 50 frames a second or something like that, or 50 some odd number again. And it's just like, what the heck? And then the rest of them recorded in the 60 frames a second. It doesn't seem to make any sense. Like, why would the software, the hardware in your recording device, in this case my Google Pixel 6 Pro, why would it just randomly decide to just say, fuck it, I'm just not going to have any kind of a frame limit, I'm just going to be variable to the extent that I'm going to come up with these really whack-ass numbers for average FPS, like 34.556 or 586 or something like that. So that's my first question, is for those of you that are more phone heads or hardware heads or code, that kind of programming heads, maybe you're actually a former or current employee in that program at Google, Alphabet, whatever you want to look at it. The point is, if you know how to put that into like fifth grader terms, hyper simplistic terms, because I do not have a tech or math mind, and to break it down into the simple words, as if you're spoon feeding me a bunch of Gerber baby formula, please do. I would like to figure out what the fuck causes that and why the hell that even why the hell that happened. So my second part of this, and this is like the main thing that I actually could potentially, I think, have solved and be helped with, is, am I just fucked? Or is there a way I can trick the video editing software to not even just individual clips? Because I've put the individual clip, the one that's 34.586 frames a second or whatever the fuck, for whatever reason, I put that by itself in its own brand new save file. So brand new project, open that up, put it in there, make sure the settings match it. Then I go, test it, and it's perfectly fine. So I render it, and it comes out slow motion anyway. Welcome to Wapato Lake National Wildlife Refuge. That woman in black. It still does that. So my question is it salvageable? Can I somehow trick it into, even if I do the individual clips or together, get them to not desync everything so aggressively like that, where it plays a video in slow motion, but the audio file is totally untouched. It's totally raw and fine. Like, is there a way I can trick it into functioning as it actually is before you put it into an editing software and then try to render it? Because as it stands, if I take the actual video file, it functions perfectly fine. Like, that's another thing I did, obviously, is I made damn sure I didn't just check the data and see that if it was a weird frames per second, which it was, but also I clicked on the file and I watched it to make sure that it isn't itself doing something weird. It's not. It's functioning perfectly fine, perfectly quality, everything. Can I somehow do that to where it's now not doing slow-mo? So it's actually coming out as it should be. Second part of that question is, when I do that, whether individual clips or not, can I then, because again, this is how videos work, obviously, you take your clips, what clips you want, you put them together, and then you render them as one video file, and you upload it to YouTube. Obviously, that's how it works. I'm sure nobody needs to be told that, but I'm just putting it out there just in case somehow, some way, somebody's not connecting the dots. It's that simple. But that's exactly part of the problem, is I'm not sure if it's capable of functioning as a proper video, because these different clips would be at completely different frame rates. Is it possible to put them into one video together, edit them together, and it come out without being really weird or desynced or otherwise having some off issue, or like losing tons of quality because the full video itself is obviously going to be rendered at 60 frames a second, like about half of the files, video files, any of those clips will be in the video and the final product. And then the other half will, of course, be these random ass frame rates that just decided to shit out for no reason, without my consent, without me knowing. So putting those together, I feel like that would not necessarily be possible. That you could actually make a viable video out of that without something going fucky with the lower frame rate pieces in that, or maybe vice versa. I'm not sure. So if somebody with a lot more knowledge and experience in editing and in programming and all this stuff could help me, in just videography, really, right? Film work, could help me understand if there's a way I can salvage this, or if I'm just fucked and there's no way I can put them together and get it to work. Hopefully this gets seen. Maybe somebody that's a big Reddit head could actually share it on Reddit, because I know that Reddit is a resource haven for all sorts of knowledge. I mean, endless knowledge, endless databases and resources. There's so much beauty to it, but I hate using Reddit, so I don't use it. So maybe you can share it on Reddit, or maybe you are a Reddit user and you just love looking at that kind of information. Please do hit me up in the comments. Let me know if you have any aid you can give me, or if I'm just fucked. And if I'm just fucked, please make it the most creatively disgusting and insulting way you can. Basically say, yeah, you fucked yourself, you prick. Suck on that. Because I want to have at least some amusement from it. Okay, I'm gonna go get hit by a truck now, as my team has been lately. I'll see you later.